Kiren Rijiju as guest of honor. I will request you to welcome Honorable Union Minister Shri Kiren Rijiju with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The Excellencies, distinguished scholars, diplomats, and practitioners of Buddhism from various countries are here to participate in this two-day summit, Global Buddhist Summit. Our heartfelt welcome to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset of this inaugural session, let me request the venerable monks from Theravada and Nalanda tradition for Mangalacharana.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Mahakaruniko nato hitaya sabbapaninang puritva parami sabbapatto sambodhimuttamang. Etena saccavajjena hotu te jaya mangalang. Jayanto bodhiya mule sakkyanang nandivadyanom. Evang tuyang jayo hotu jayasu jaya mangalim. Aparajita palanke sise potho vimukhaling. Abhiseke sambuddhanang aggapato pamodati. Sunakhatang sumanggalang supapadang suhutitang. Sukhano sumohoto ca suyiting brahmacharisu. Padakhinang kaya kammang vaca kammang padakhinang. Padakhinang mano kammang paniditi padakhinim. Padakhinani katuana labante ta padakhinim. Tiyatalata sukhita virulla buddha sasanim. Aroga sukhita hota sahasa behinyatibim. Bhavato sabba mangalang rakhanto sabba devata. Sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavato sabba mangalang rakhanto sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sote bhavantu te Bhavato sabba mangalang rakhanto sabba devata Sabba sanganubhavena sada sote bhavantu te.
The timeless wisdom of the Buddha Dhamma may always guide us through compassion, wisdom, and harmony, fostering peace, shared prosperity, and deeper human connection. May I now invite the Secretary General.
Anirodham anutpadam anuchedam ashashvatam anekartham nanartham nagamam nirgamam ya partitya samutpadam parapancho pashmam shivam deshyamasa sambudastam vande vadatam varam. Kangi tenjin drevar junkapa meba kemeba cheba meba ta meba huwa meba do meba 타데 투민 둔직민 트바 니시시든 바 조베 상게 만남기 담바텔라 차셀로 with paying homage to the great Buddha Shakyamuni in the words of great Master Nagarjuna. Now, first of all, I would like to express my deeply felt welcome to our chief guest, Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji, the Honorable Minister of Culture and Tourism Ministry in the Government of India. And secondly, I express my deeply felt welcome to Shri Kiren Rijiju ji, the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and the Minority Affairs at the Government of India. Beside that, I express my deeply felt welcome to the international Sangha leaders and international officials from the government, from the various countries. You are all welcome to this very significant gathering of Second Global Buddhist Summit 2026. The theme is Collective Wisdom, United Voice, and Mutual Coexistence. I also welcome delegates from almost 40 plus countries that is gathering on this very special occasion in this hall to celebrate the Buddhism in this country, which is birthplace of Buddhism, birthplace of Buddha Dhamma. So I express welcome to all the other participants from different parts of our country. So in this gathering, we have selected very important and relative topics for the discussion, and I do hope our discussion will be rich and comprehensive, and that will definitely benefit the global community for achieve peace, tranquility, and happiness. With this, I would like to conclude my welcome speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, the Secretary General IBC, for your welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for a musical presentation of Karaniya Metta Sutta. Karaniya Metta Sutta, popularly known as Metta Sutta, is a significant discourse from the Pali Tipitaka in the text Sutta Nipata, providing a manual for cultivating boundless loving kindness and compassion for all beings. A renowned vocalist, composer, and musicologist, Dr. Aditi Sharma Garg, who is on his stage, is going to present this Karaniya Metta Sutta. She is disciple of Guru Krishna Datta Sharma, her grandfather, and Nadayogi Pandit Shri Datta Sharma, her father. Thus, a professional Drupad vocalist hailing from a rich and illustrious music background, she has widely performed at various prestigious music festivals in India and abroad. Dr. Aditi Sharma Garg presenting Karaniya Metta Sutta.
Namo तस्सं भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स करणीयमत्थ कुशलेन करणीयमत्थ कुशलेन यन्तं सन्तं पदम् अभिसमिच्च सको उजूच सुजूच सको उजूच सुजूच सुवचोच समुदु अनतिमाने सन्तुस्सकोच सुभरोच सन्तुस्सकोच सुभरोच अपकेच्चोच सल्लहुकवुत्ति सन्तेन्द्रियोच निपकोच सन्तेन्द्रियो च निपकोच अपगभोकुलेषु अननुगिद्धो न च खुद्दं समाचरे किञ्चित् येन विन्युपरे उपवदेयो सुखिनो वा खेमिनो होन्तु सर्वे सत्ता भवन्तु सुखितत्ता सर्वे सत्ता भवन्तु सुखितत्ता सर्वे सत्ता भवन्तु सुखितत्ता ये केचिपाणभूतथि तसावा थावरावा अनवशेषा दीर्घावा ये महन्तावा मध्यमा रसका भूतावा सम्भवे शिवा सर्वे सत्ता शिवा सर्वे सत्ता भवन्तु सुखितत्ता सर्वे सत्ता भवन्तु सुखितत्ता सर्वे सत्ता भवन्तु सुखितत्ता न परो परं निकुब्बेथ न परो परं निकुब्बेथ नातिमय्येथ कथचित् न किञ्चित् ब्यारोसन पटिघसैया ब्यारोसन पटिघसैया नाय मय्यस दुःखमिच्छेय माता यथा नियं पुत्रं माता यथा नियं पुत्रं आयुषा एकपुत्रमनुरक्षे आयुषा एकपुत्रमनुरक्षे एवं पि सर्वभूतेषु एवं पि सर्वभूतेषु मानसं भावये अपरिमाणम् मित्तं च सर्वलोकस्मिन् मानसं भावये अपरिमाणो ऊर्ध्वो अधो च तिर्यं च ऊर्ध्वो अधो च तिर्यं च असंबाधम् अवेरम् असपत्तम् तिष्ठं चरं निसिन्नो वा सयानो यावतः स विगतमिद्धम् एतं सतिम् अधिष्ठेय ब्रह्ममेतं विहार इधमाहु ब्रह्ममेतं विहार इधमाहु दिट्ठिं च अनुपगं शीलवादस्सनेन संपन्नो कामेषु विनेय गेधं नहि जातु गभसेयं पुनरेति नहि जातु गभसेयं पुनरेति इति करणीयमित्त सुत्त इति करणीयमित्त सुत्त सम्पन्नम्
We are grateful to Dr. Aditi Sharma Garg for this soulful rendition of Karaniyamit Sutta. May I now request Shri Abhijit Halderji, Director General IBC, to escort the guest of honor, Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Minority Affairs, Shri Kiren Rijiju, to the stage, please. Honorable Shri Kiren Rijiju. On the stage, Honorable Union Minister will first offer flowers to Lord Buddha and seek his blessings. Now I will request Abhijit Halderji to felicitate the Honorable Union Minister and present him a memento on the stage. This is a statue of Lord Buddha. Now I will request Honorable Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Minority Affairs, Shri Kiren Rijiju, for his address, please.
Namo Buddhaya. Honorable Union Minister of Culture and Tourism, Sri Gajendra Singh Shekhawatji, most respected Sharche Khenzur Rinpoche, Jangchip Choten, the Secretary General of International Buddhist Confederation, His Excellency Dao Nu Mrazan, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Religious and Cultural Affairs, Government of Myanmar, His Excellency Mr. Zagambinov Ochir Vladimirovich, Deputy Head of the Government of the Republic of Kalmykia, Russia, His Excellency Mr. Maris Sangyam Phongsa, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kingdom of Thailand, Most Venerable Thich Duc Thien, Member of National Assembly of Vietnam, and Vice President and Secretary General of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, His Excellency Dr. Khi Sawantratna, Secretary of State, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Cambodia, Sri Chauna Min, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Sri Abhijit Haldar, Director General, IBC, all the venerable monks and nuns who are present here, all the excellencies, the representative of different missions based in India, the Buddhist scholars, and all Dhamma practitioners. I'm extremely delighted that this second Global Buddhist Summit is being organized once again in New Delhi under the guidance of the Ministry of Culture and organized by International Buddhist Confederation. When we had the first Global Buddhist Summit, we have seen very impressive participation from the global Buddhist community. And today, I'm equally delighted that such a high level of representation and also participation in this Global Buddhist Summit. And the theme is extremely relevant, the collective wisdom, united voice, and mutual coexistence. In this great occasion, from my side, and Government of India is extremely fortunate to have such a wonderful gathering and to discuss on such critical concept. Today we are witnessing extremely challenging environment, and I feel as a Buddha Dharma follower, we have a certain duty to contribute. Buddha Dharma is not only for individual peace, but it is for the global peace. So we have a huge responsibility to discharge our duty as a follower of Buddha Dharma. And when I say Buddha Dharma, I don't really mean those who call themselves Buddhist, because I feel that Buddha Dharma is universal. It is not those who proclaim to be Buddhist practitioners. Buddha Dharma is a universal concept where everybody can be Buddha Dharma follower. So whether you are traditional Buddhist or non-Buddhist, I don't differentiate between a Buddhist and non-Buddhist. I feel anybody who believes in the concept of universal peace and harmony is a Buddha Dharma follower. We are witnessing political difficulties all around the globe. There are so much of social unrest, environmental challenges, how to overcome. And if you see the Buddha Dharma guidance, which is through compassion, wisdom, and the harmony, the result will immediately be seen. I have personally felt that it is always collective wisdom which can meet all the challenges. The teaching of Lord Buddha, if you see closely, the principle of Patika Samuppada, the dependent origination, we all are dependent to each other. Nothing is in isolation. If I do something, it has a consequence, it has an effect. So that means I cannot proclaim that whatever I want to do, it is for myself. It has a consequence. So we are all interdependent. Today, if a country is adopting certain policy, it has a consequential effect on another country, all the countries surrounding. So what I believe, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi said in 2014 that if any global leader or any country aspire to dominate, aspire to become powerful nation, become a leader, he must follow Buddha's path. If you follow Buddha's path, then you will always spread positive things around. Otherwise, in the quest to acquire power, you are actually damaging the surroundings. Some of the global leaders in today's time, they talk about military power, economic power, authorities. But then it is, I think, of no use if you acquire authorities and powers by subjugating others, by causing pain to other people. So, if you follow Buddha's middle path, then you will become powerful. You may become more prosperous. But in the process, you will make others happy and others prosperous too. So it is so relevant in today's interdependent political concept that we must aspire to rise, but we must follow the concept that we rise together. Nothing is an isolation. So, not only through the Buddhist Sanghas, all the venerable, the Buddhist Sanghas, they teach us, they guide us. They show us the path, how to follow Buddha's path. But beyond that, we also have our individual responsibilities through dialogue, ethical engagement, and mutual support to each other. So that is why I have quoted the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, when he said, India also aspired to become very prosperous, a very powerful nation. But that doesn't mean that we rise in isolation. If we remember the history when the Buddhism spread beyond India, it did not conquer through guns and swords and violence. Buddha sent a message, and all the Buddha's followers, right from Ashoka the Great, when the Buddha's message was sent across the different parts of the world, it was through peace, love, compassion. So the Buddha Dharma doesn't conquer by force, it conquers by love. So I don't really discriminate or differentiate between Buddhists and non-Buddhists. In a strict sense, Buddha Dharma is a perfect way of life. Ever since, from childhood, I have listened to great dharmas like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, many dharma gurus. I feel that Buddha Dharma is not about only those who follow Buddhism or those who say they are Buddhists. It's for everybody. So there is complete inclusivity in the approach. There is no place in Buddhist place of worship or anything which excludes other people. Everybody is welcome. It's very embracing. Many times I learned from the Buddha Dharma gurus, almost whether it's Mahayana or Theravada, Mahayana, Hinayan, Theravada, Vajrayan, the whole concept, I feel there is a strong convergence on it. In the 2 days, this conference, we will get to listen to great ideas and thoughts of different scholars, and mainly from the Sangha leaders. So I will not throw much light on what I think, but I am here actually to listen to the much more experienced, learned, and much more authorized people to speak on Buddha Dharma. I just want to tell a few words to my fellow Indians. हम लोग तो भारत के लोग हैं, भारत वर्ष के लोग हैं. यहाँ इस बुद्ध धर्म का ग्लोबल समिट देश विदेश से लोग आए हैं. हमारे कई जिम्मेदारियां हैं. सबसे बड़ा जिम्मेदारी मैं मानता हूं कि हम लोग उस भूमि से हैं जहाँ से बुद्ध धर्म का जन्म हुआ और यहाँ से विश्व भर में बुद्ध धर्म फैलाया गया है. तो इस भारत भूमि का नागरिक होने के नाते हमारा विशेष दायित्व है. कभी कभी हम खुद ही नहीं समझते हैं कि हम कितना पवित्र धरती में जन्मे हैं. लोग इस धरती को चूमने के लिए आते हैं. मैंने कई लाखों लोगों से विदेश में जो बौद्ध है या बुद्ध धर्म को जो मानते हैं या उसको सम्मान देते हैं, उन लोगों से मैंने सुना है कि जीवन काल में भारतवर्ष एक बार जाना है और उस धरती को चूमना है जिस धरती ने बुद्ध धर्म को जन्म दिया है. और हम लोग अपने जिम्मेदारी को कितने तो हम लोगों ने संभाला है. बुद्ध का धरती में बुद्ध का ज्ञान और बुद्ध का संदेश को हमने कितना फैलाने का काम किया है. भारतवर्ष में जहाँ जहाँ बुद्ध धर्म का चिन्ह है, बोध गया से लेकर के सारनाथ, कुशीनगर से लेकर के जितने भी देश भर में बुद्ध धर्म का चिन्ह है, वहाँ पर हमने किस तरीके से विश्व के लोगों को आने के लिए और महसूस करने के लिए अपने तरीके से हमने कार्य किए हैं. ये सोचना होगा. 2014 से पहले अपने तरीके से हम लोग बुद्ध जयंती, वैशाख बुद्ध पूर्णिमा मनाते हैं। भारत सरकार की ओर से कोई इस तरह का कार्यक्रम तक नहीं बनाया था। पहले बार प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हम लोगों ने बुद्ध जयंती, बुद्ध पूर्णिमा को मनाने का एक सामूहिक भारत सरकार के नेतृत्व में शुरू किया। इसलिए मैं आज इंटरनेशनल बुद्धिस्ट कॉन्फेडरेशन को तारीफ करना चाहता हूँ कि बहुत अच्छी तरीके से आईबीसी का देख रेख में कई कार्यक्रम 2014 के बाद शुरू किए हैं। आज कल्चर मिनिस्टर गजेंद्र शेखावत जी यहाँ है। इनके नेतृत्व में पिछले 1 साल 1.5 साल में मैंने जो देखा है, वो खुद आईबीसी के साथ बैठ करके बुद्ध धर्म का लेकर के जो कार्यक्रम की रचनाएं की है, उससे मैं मानता हूँ कि जो भारतीय होने के नाते जो हमको करना चाहिए था, हजारों वर्षों से हमको करते रहना चाहिए था, मुझे लगता है कहीं छूट गए हैं, वो शुरुआत हुई है। और आईबीसी ने अपना जिम्मेदारी को बहुत अच्छी तरह से संभाले हैं। आईबीसी के सेक्रेटरी जनरल, डीजी और पूरा टीम को मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। अभी जो मुझे लगता है आप लोगों के पास कार्यक्रम में भी है, जो पेपरवा का बुद्धा रेलिक्स को यहाँ जो एक्सपोजिशन के लिए रखा है, एग्जीबिशन करके बहुत खूबसूरत रखा है। हमारे विदेश के मेहमानों को शायद ले जाने वाले हैं, बहुत खूबसूरत से दर्शाया है। वो जब हम देखते हैं तो हम वो सफ़र, हजारों वर्षों से जो हमने सफ़र किए हैं, उसका झलक वहाँ दिखाई देता है। फिर हम महसूस करते हैं कि हम कितना धन्य लोग हैं कि हम इस धरती में पैदा हुए हैं। इसलिए एक भारतीय होने के नाते जब इस तरह का बैठक होते हैं तो देश विदेश से लोग बुद्ध धर्म को समर्पित भाव के साथ भारत देश आता है, तो हमारा विशेष दायित्व बनता है कि इनका देखभाल तो करना ही है, लेकिन इनके मन में बुद्ध धर्म को लेकर के जो आस्था है, उसको और आगे ले जाना में और फैलाने में हम एक भारतीय होने के नाते हमको क्या करना चाहिए, उसका जिम्मेदारी को समझना पड़ेगा। और आज ये ग्लोबल समिट हुए हैं, इस तरीके के और भी कई कार्यक्रम हमने देखा है। कई वर्षों पहले जो नहीं दिखाई देता, अब हमने देखा है। यहाँ बुद्ध का जो अवशेष लेकर के विदेश जाने का कार्यक्रम पिछले कुछ सालों में जो बहुत अच्छी तरह से योजनाएं की है, उसका प्रभाव मैंने देखा है। मैं खुद मंगोलिया गया, अभी भूटान जाके आया, मैं वियतनाम में देखा है। हजारों किलोमीटर सड़कों पर लोग लेट जाते हैं इसका दर्शन करने के लिए। पवित्र बुद्ध अवशेषों का दर्शन करने के लिए लोग पूरा जमीन पे लेट जाते हैं, पूरा आस्था के प्रति पूरा समावी हो जाते हैं। और वो जब देखता है तो हम उस धरती से आए हैं, तो हमारे जिम्मेदारियां कई गुना बढ़ जाते हैं। इसलिए भारत के अंदर में जितने भी लोग हैं, विशेष करके जो हमारा भिक्षुगण है, जितना भी हमारे बुद्ध धर्म का रक्षक है, उनके साथ तालमेल करके हमको कई काम आगे करना है। आज के पवित्र दिवस पर जैसे मैंने कहा, मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा कहने का नहीं है, लेकिन बहुत मन में इशू है, लेकिन इतना लंबा मुझे अपना विचार को यहाँ रखने का मैं औचित नहीं मानता हूँ, क्योंकि हमको सुनने का है। और राइटली सेड, द एंशिएंट विजडम must be merged with the science which is practical in our way of life. Must be merged with the science which is practical in our way of life. How to do it? It can be done in such gathering. When you have a special session, you can think about it, you can talk about it, and also bring all the different methodology which we have adopted into one form. It is a huge task, but we have to do it. And then the whole global community, we must come together. Whether you are Buddhist or non-Buddhist, we have to come together. The world is heading towards huge conflict, challenges. I think the best solution is to come together with this collective vision and the idea which is given here, united voice, and also the mutual coexistence. We have to coexist. We cannot live in isolation. And that is what Lord Buddha has told us, that we have to coexist harmoniously, spread love and compassion. That is the teaching of Lord Buddha. And in the Global Buddhist Summit, the greatest message will be the teachings of Lord Buddha is ever more relevant today than what it has been in the past. So that is the purpose for which we have gathered here. And I'm thankful to the IBC for inviting me to share this inaugural session. And I may not be taking part in all the technical important sessions, but I will definitely go through all the recommendations and also find out what those valuable discussions and ideas which you would be sharing in the sessions. Thank you so much. Namo Buddhaya.
We are grateful to Honorable Sri Kiren Rijiju for gracing the occasion as well as for his inspiring words. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, for this Global Buddhist Summit, we have with us a cultural group from Ladakh who are going to present a folk dance before you. Ladakh State Cultural Group is going to perform a Ladakhi traditional dance, Shondol, which has been recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records. So let's feel the vibrancy of Ladakhi culture through this dance. We are thankful to the members of the Ladakh cultural group for performing Ladakhi traditional dance, Shondol, ladies and gentlemen. May I now request our Secretary General Shatsek Hensur Rinpoche Jangchup Choiden to escort the Honorable Chief Guest, Union Minister of Culture and Tourism, Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji, to the stage. Honorable Union Minister of Culture and Tourism will first offer flowers to Lord Buddha and will seek his blessings. Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji, Honorable Union Minister of Culture and Tourism. I will request our Secretary General to present a memento to the chief guest of this inaugural session, Honorable Union Minister, Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji. This memento is a logo of this second Global Buddhist Summit, ladies and gentlemen. So please put your hands together to express our gratitude to Honorable Union Minister for his presence, his guidance and his support. And may I now request Honorable Union Minister of Culture and Tourism, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji, for his address, please.
Most venerable members of the Sangha from all across the world present here today in this sacred Dhamma gathering. My esteemed colleague, Honorable Minister for Parliamentary Affairs and Ministry of Minority Affairs, Shri Kiren Rijiju ji, Honorable Secretary General of the International Buddhist Confederation, Sase Kenzur Rinpoche ji, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Shri Chauna Minje, Senior Representatives and Excellencies of the governments of Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand, Kalmakia, and Cambodia, esteemed members of the diplomatic community, erudite Buddhist scholars, dedicated Dhamma practitioners, members of the media from India and abroad, ladies and gentlemen all across the world, to the deliberate upon the theme collective wisdom, united voice, and mutual coexistence, the very essence of the Buddha Dharma. Friends, I am reminded that the conclusion of the first Global Buddhist Summit held in April 2023, the New Delhi Declaration affirmed a timeless truth that members of the Sangha, Buddhist leaders, scholars, and institutions can play a decisive role in addressing the multi-layered crisis facing our world today. I am gratified the continuation of this summit had translated that vision into sustained action. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few years, under the active leadership of the Ministry of Culture, under guidance of Prime Minister Modi ji, and in partnership with IBC and our diplomatic missions, India has organized international expositions of the sacred relics of Lord Buddha in Thailand, in Vietnam, and recently in Russia and Bhutan. These efforts reaffirm India's role as a custodian of shared Buddhist heritage and as a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern global dialogue. Friends, collective wisdom is interdependence as ethics. The Buddha taught us through Pattika Sampada that all phenomena arise in interdependence. This is not abstraction, it is instruction for living. It tells us that personal well-being and collective welfare are inseparable. When this truth guides public life, policy becomes humane, development becomes inclusive, and sustainability becomes moral duty. Respected delegates, the Noble Eightfold Path offers not only personal guidance, but social direction. Right speech, that is Samma Vacha, is especially relevant today in an age of misinformation and digital polarization. Truthful, compassionate, and responsible speech is moral leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Sharaniya Sutta, the Lord Buddha speaks of 6 qualities that make societies harmonious. These values: physical harmony, verbal harmony, mental harmony, shared ethical conduct, tolerance, and integration, remain the foundation of peaceful coexistence in any civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, India's connection with Buddhism is not confined to history, as mentioned by Honorable Kiren Rijiju ji. It is living, it is breathing, and continuing. The repatriation of the sacred Piparvaha relics after 127 years is an act of civilizational responsibility. As our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has said, for India, the sacred relics of Bhagwan Buddha are not artifacts, but living symbols of our civilization. We have created a beautiful exhibition, and I would like to urge upon all of you, please do carve out time and visit to pay your reverence to the relics united after 227 years. Friends, India today is also committed to preserving the intellectual heritage of Asia, not only in stone and relic, but in text and traditions. Under the Jnana Bharata National Mission, the Government of India is undertaking one of the world's largest initiatives for the digitization of ancient manuscripts, Buddhist texts in Pali, Prakrit, Sanskrit, Tibetan, and other classical languages, preserved on the palm leaves, birch barks, and fragile handmade papers, are being digitally conserved to ensure that the wisdom of the Buddha remains accessible to future generations. This is Dhamma preservation through technology, tradition empowered by innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, Prakrit is a classical language, and it's a classical voice of compassion. The language in which many early Buddhist teachings were communicated to the masses have now been accorded the status of classical languages of India under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. This recognition honors a linguistic tradition that carried the masses of compassion, ethical conduct, and accessibility. From monastic centers to common households, I reaffirm our belief that languages of wisdom must be preserved, studied, and celebrated. Friends, the teachings of Buddha are not memories of the past. They are roots for our present and compass for our future. May this summit become a movement of action, dialogue, and compassion. May our collective wisdom find a united voice, and may that voice guide the world towards peaceful coexistence. Because in today's geopolitical turbulent world, where tensions are arising around the boundaries, across the boundaries, and beyond the boundaries, where out of the greed and exploitation, the nature is turning into the climate threat and knocking our doors, the families are dividing and fragmenting, that peace is lost in the minds of the people, the teachings of Lord Buddha is even more relevant, as said by Kiren Rijiju ji, than the time when he delivered this to the world. With these words, I express my gratitudes and welcome you all to India for this International Global Buddhist Summit organized by International Buddhist Confederation and Ministry of Culture for the second time. I thank all of you. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you very much, sir. Your presence, your support, and your guidance always gives us strength and direction. Ladies and gentlemen, with the address of our chief guest today, we conclude the inaugural session of the second Global Buddhist Summit. We express our deep gratitude to our chief guest, Honorable Union Minister of Culture and Tourism, our guest of honor, Honorable Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Minister Minority Affairs, Shri Kiren Rijiju, and other dignitaries for their gracious presence. I will request all of you to please put your hands together to express for our VIP guests, only for our VIP guests, others will remain seated here, only for our VIP guests, others will remain seated here, and ministers, honorable ministers, diplomats and bureaucrats will proceed to the room number 19 at level 1 for networking. Only honorable ministers, diplomats,
Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
कुशक बकुला रिम्पोचे एयरपोर्ट पे आपका स्वागत है.
This is the Spituk Monastery in the Himalayan mountains of Ladakh in India. It stands nearly 11,000 feet above sea level next to the airport of Leh, the capital of Ladakh. There is one thing common between the airport and the monastery. One man, one story.
Guests and media representatives are requested to remain seated for our upcoming session.
रिम्पोचे का जिंदगी भर अपने के लिए तो पूरा त्याग दिया है, बिल्कुल लोगों की सेवा में लग गए.
He was very futuristic and visionary.
आज लद्दाख के जो बौद्ध धर्म के अनुयायियों में आप देख सकते हैं, उसमें साक्या है, गेलुक है, कग्युट है, निंगमा है, चारों संप्रदाय आपको यहाँ पर मिलने को मिलेगा. तो ये अपने आप में एक खूबसूरती है. ये मैं समझता हूँ रिम्पोचे जी का बहुत बड़ा योगदान.
The story is spread across 50 years and 2 countries. It involves a man who was also a monk, a politician, and one of the most successful diplomats in India's history.
Many of Mongolian people for Bakula
Bakula Rinpoche has got his own legacy and most respectable person for Mongolians.
He built many monasteries and temples across the country. We deeply respect his teachings.
When Bakula Rinpoche left his body, I handled his cremation and created a silver stupa for him.
It is a story that began in these mountains with the birth of a prince in a palace.
हमारे सामने जो है माथोव गांव जो है इंडस के इस तरफ का गांव जो है, जहाँ पे 19th कुशोक बकुला रिम्पोचे जी ने जो जन्म लिया वो ये गांव है. और ये पीछे जो है मातो पैलेस, जो महाराजा का घर थे, जो वहाँ पे कुशक बाकुला रिम्पोचे जी ने जो जन्म लिया। लद्दाख के कोई भी बाशिंदा जिस समुदाय से ताल्लुक रखते हो, जिस धर्म से रखते हो, जिस समाज से रखते हो, सभी लोग जो है रिम्पोचे बाकुला जी के नाम से वो जुट जाते हैं और रिम्पोचे बाकुला जी के नाम लेने में भी गर्व महसूस करते हैं।
Kushak Bakula Rinpoche was the great-great-great-grandson of the last king of Ladakh. In the traditions of Buddhism, he was recognized as the 19th Arhat Bakula, one of the 16 original disciples of the Buddha. Sent to study at the great Buddhist schools of Tibet, where he was a star pupil.
He would have studied and taken some responsibilities, and if he had done that, then he would go in the hierarchy of becoming the Ganden Chipa, which is the supreme head of the Gelugpa tradition of Buddhism, which is a very high position. Not many people in India, outside Ladakh, know Rinpoche as well as they should be, because he was just not simply the leader of Ladakh, but he was also a person of national importance, and his contribution to the nation, in fact to the world, is not highlighted properly.
This is Sonam Wangchuk. For 30 years he was the personal assistant and confidant of Kushak Bakula Rinpoche. Today, he is the caretaker of the legacy of Kushak Bakula and the most important narrator of the Kushak Bakula story.
Ladakhis always, he will wherever he go, two things: education, Indian first and Indian last. This sense of nationalism which he instilled in the people of Ladakh, I think was his greatest contribution to India.
This patriotism was first tested in 1947. That year, soon after the independence of British India and the division of the country into the independent states of India and Pakistan, Pakistan launched an attack on the Indian region of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. The war that followed changed the story of Kushak Bakula.
He was a monk, but he literally gave a call to the youth of Ladakh to come and fight back these people, and he organized resistance.
उस समय हम लोग लद्दाख छोड़ के भागने के लिए तैयारी कर रहे थे। हम लोग सब घर से निकल चुके थे, तो जब जैस का आवाज आया तो सब लोग दौड़ के एयरपोर्ट चला गया देखने के लिए। तो पहले बार उस समय
all the monks and nuns on the stage, please proceed for the lunch and clear the stage. So please, we can have photographs later on, but we have to prepare the stage for the next session. So I will request all of you to please clear the stage. Please proceed for the lunch.
Spituk Monastery.
Army said, this is the place we need to build our airport. Rinpoche said, take it. He gave it away. There was, people like resistance in his monastery. Rinpoche, what are you doing, giving away our land to this? And he said, no, nothing doing. It must be given. And so he gave away.
Kiren Singh and his family were the former princely rulers of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. He says the war was a definitive moment which created the need for leadership in Ladakh, and Kushak Bakula emerged to represent the dreams and aspirations of what was at that time one of the remotest parts of India.
Kushak Sahib was the main leader at that time. He was the one who received us, and he was the one who made all the speeches. So he had already at that time emerged as the predominant leader in Ladakh.
92-year-old Lama Lobsang saw Kushak Bakula in those years. He says that people from across Ladakh were drawn to the monk as their guru, both spiritual and political.
कुशक बकुला जी तो हम सब के गुरु है, हमारा तो गुरु है ही है, पूरे लद्दाख का गुरु है। ये सारे लद्दाख को तो बिल्कुल एक तरह से जगाया ना उन्होंने, सोया हुआ था, बिल्कुल लद्दाख सोया हुआ था, वो जगह था। उन कुशक बकुले की सेवा और कोई तो था नहीं। पंडित जी ने लोगों से पूछा कि तुम लोग को लीडर किसको चाहिए, क्या चाहिए, तो सब कुशक बकुले जी के हम कुशक बकुले जी को तुम्हारा लीडर बनाना चाहता है, तुम्हें मधुर है, तब सब चिल्ला कि भाई हाँ जरूर ठीक है।
The political leadership of independent India took notice. India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru zeroed in on Kushak Bakula to represent Ladakh.
He was never interested, he had no idea of politics, joining politics, but then fate was, just a kunda.
He took lay Muslims, Kargil all together, and then he was the first MLA, member of, Legislative Assembly of then JNK,
The young leader rallied his people, travelling on horseback to the remotest parts of Ladakh, bringing unity and integrating a vast, sparsely populated region through his sheer physical presence.
उसी समय में हमारा लद्दाख में इतना लोगों को तकलीफ थे, ना रोड थे, ना लोगों को खान पान का इतना गरीब थे, लोगों को पहनने के कपड़ा तक नहीं थे। रिम्पोचे दिन रात घोड़े पर चला थे, याक पर चला थे, लोगों को उस सिस्टम पे तो कागज भी नहीं थे ना, वो लकड़ी का तख्ता दे के, वो पेंसिल वगैरह दे के बच्चों को सिखाए थे। तो रिम्पोचे की कृपा से अभी तो लद्दाख में आप जानते हैं 100% एजुकेटेड पूरा रिम्पोचे की कृपा से हुआ था।
He took a group of students from Ladakh to Delhi to get education, and in these days we are having leaders and educated whatever you may call it, scholars and all. They are the product from that group.
Then Kushak Sahab became an
guarantees to it the possession of this important frontier. To save the frontier, India must save the Buddhists of Ladakh. And to save the Buddhists of Ladakh, it must take over the administrative control of the district without the loss of a moment.
He didn't like Kashmiri domination and therefore wanted autonomy for Ladakh. Actually, they wanted union territory.
Long before anyone else, Kushak Bakula Rinpoche demanded the union of Ladakh with the rest of India without any special qualifications, and for the region to be directly governed as part of India rather than as part of Jammu and Kashmir.
जम्मू कश्मीर समेत लद्दाख भारत के साथ जब विलय हुआ, तब से जो है लद्दाख वालों के मन में एक शंका ये बैठा, हम खुश थे भारत के साथ विलय हुआ, लेकिन इस बात के डाउट थे कब तक हम कश्मीर के साथ जोड़ के रखेंगे, और कश्मीर के जो डिस्टर्बेंस माहौल से जो निर्णय निकाल के आएगा, वो निर्णय कहीं लद्दाख पे थोपकाया तो नहीं जाएगा। फाइनली यही डिमांड किया, लद्दाख को एक केंद्र शासित प्रदेश अलग से बनाया जाए। ये 1950s से डिमांड राइज किया।
All his life he has been talking about the security of Ladakh, because that is also a security of India. Yes. To have a strong presence of Indianness in Ladakh is how you safeguard your borders. Army can't do everything. You have to have the presence of the local. No Article 370, no special status. This is his speech in Parliament.
This dream of Kushak Bakula Rinpoche would take more than 50 years to be fulfilled.
मैं मानता हूं कि जम्मू कश्मीर में एक लंबे रक्तपात भरे युग का अंत धारा 370 के समाप्त होने से हुआ।
अब आर्टिकल 370 और 35A बीते हुए इतिहास की बात हो जाने के बाद उसके नकारात्मक प्रभावों से भी जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख जल्द बाहर निकलेगा, इसका मुझे पूरा विश्वास है।
शांति प्रिय लोग यहाँ रहते हैं, कम्युनल हार्मोनी के लोग यहाँ रहते हैं, कोएग्जिस्टेंट सोसाइटी रहते हैं। और ये यूनिक जो है आपको दुनिया के बहुत कम जगहों पे देखने को मिलेगा। उसमें जो है टॉप लीडिंग पे लद्दाख का सोसाइटी है।
To develop Ladakh in more quicker and more faster, most probably, and then we are.
Sadiq, I want to speak on the budget discussion without saying he's happy or not. And he said, yeah, why not, you speak. And they fixed the date and the time. Then he said to him, my condition is that I don't speak other than Ladakhi. So I will speak in Ladakhi. I will give you the English translation and it must be read out after I speak. Okay, done. When he was speaking, he was not leaders aggressive. He was very calmly and speak his mind, clear words, and not show his emotions like that. So he was speaking his way, and in between he says, Janab Sheikh Abdullah. Janab Sheikh, that is how he used to be addressed. Sometimes he says Sher Kashmir Sheikh Abdullah. And the members of the treasury bench will thump their desk hoping that he is talking about appreciating or praising their leader, because he is from the same party. Nobody expected him to say what he said.
For nearly 2 decades, Kushak Bakula remained unopposed and revered, the key political voice of Ladakh, with unlimited access to Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and seen and heard everywhere as the voice of Ladakh, loved by every constituency and all peoples of Ladakh.
On the left and right side always used to be Muslims. There were many Muslim leaders, like from my community, Sheikh Jamaluddin, Ghulam Rasul Beton. They used to be his right hand and left side leaders. So he was very futuristic, visionary.
When the young Dalai Lama fled Tibet with his followers in India, Kushak Bakula Rinpoche helped the young Dalai Lama and his followers find a new home for the Tibetan community in exile in India. Even though he was a monk and remained one throughout his life, Kushak Bakula's sense of the world was acute. In the late 1950s, he warned Jawaharlal Nehru that to trust China after the annexation of Tibet would be foolish. But Nehru did not listen. In 1962, India lost a critical war to China.
Rinpoche told him that it will be the beginning of our trouble, because not only China will occupy Tibet and destroy, and our buffer zone between India and China will be gone. Next will be Ladakh, next will be Arunachal Pradesh, and there will be no end to it. So be ready, and I very strongly want to tell you that you act now, save Tibet, save Ladakh. If not, it will be danger for India.
Kushak Bakula Rinpoche had spent his early years as a student monk, achieving the highest honors in the centers of Buddhist learning in Tibet. He understood what destruction communism brought to traditional societies. So for years, as a Buddhist monk and an Indian politician, he built deep connections of worship and reverence inside the Soviet Union and its affiliate countries, including Mongolia. It was in Mongolia that Kushak Bakula would have perhaps his greatest impact.
Many of Mongolian people with Bakula Rinpoche's name.
Hello, 1 2 check. Hello.
Buddhism came from India by Tibet, so we think that India is very close to Mongolia. Geographically, of course, it is very distant, but spiritually and culture-wise, it is very close. So it was very wise decision by the Indian government in late 80s to appoint him as the Indian ambassador to Mongolia.
For 10 years between 1990 and 2000, Kushak Bakula Rinpoche was India's ambassador in Mongolia. It was a diplomatic stint like no other.
Kushak Bakula Rinpoche was an iconic Buddhist teacher who, through his sheer spiritual knowledge, through the manner of his preaching, was able to win hearts of the Mongolian people.
When I think about Kushak Bakula Rinpoche, he reminds me, or I start thinking that maybe Mahatma Gandhi was like him. Because I read a lot about Mahatma Gandhi, I had sort of visionary image of Mahatma Gandhi. And when I was meeting with Kushak Bakula Rinpoche, I was always thinking that maybe Mahatma Gandhi was like him. He was a good model of a real Buddhist monk, of good ambassador, of good envoy of whole of India, of Indian people to Mongolia. So all these things combined helped us to love him, respect him, and with this love and respect, he was able to conquer the hearts of the Mongolians. And that helped a lot in the revival of Buddhism.
Long before Kushak Bakula arrived in Mongolia, a legend had echoed across the vast landlocked nation.
And in Mongolia, there was this prophecy that would say that, when Buddhism was at its peak at that time, during the 8th Bogd Khan time.
Within weeks of Kushak Bakula landing in Ulaanbaatar in 1990, the Iron Curtain started to fall. The Soviet Union started to collapse as Mikhail Gorbachev introduced glasnost and perestroika. Within 2 years, the Soviet forces withdrew from Mongolia after 70 long years. And the Buddhist chants rose across the nation.
Bakula Rinpoche has got his own legacy, and most respectable person for Mongolians for his great activities surrounding Buddhism. Bakula Rinpoche contributed to bring Buddhism to the Mongolians, who were separated from Buddhism thoughts during the 70 years of communism. He was the Indian ambassador to Mongolia from 1990 to 2000. He contributed to the capacity building for Mongolian youth to learn Buddhism. There are now from
During the long communist rule, Buddhist practices had been attacked and devastated across Mongolia. Hundreds of monasteries had been broken down, thousands of monks butchered. Their mass graves were discovered with bullet-ridden skulls after the communist regime was dislodged. To soothe the soul of a nation.
Buddha Day, after so many years of the day being forgotten and completely forgotten, it was done on the stadium in this children's park, and it was hugely attended by thousands of people. And now the Mongolian Parliament has passed a special resolution saying that Buddha Day is a very important day in the life of Mongolians, and this is day off for all Mongols.
At that time, the Mongolia was just developing. He helped in establishing the Rajiv Gandhi School of Production and Art in Ulaanbaatar. His suggestions were implemented in Mongolia very precisely.
It is extremely rare for a diplomat to be posted to one country for 10 long years. The average stint is around 3 years. But even though different political parties took charge of governance in India for a decade, every party in power chose to keep Kushak Bakula as the ambassador in Mongolia. It was Kushak Bakula who first brought the relics of the Buddha from India to Mongolia in 1993, which was the most important spiritual event in the country's history after the fall of communist rule. Kushak Bakula was no ordinary diplomat. He was a Buddhist master like none that Mongolia had ever seen. He was Elchin Baksh, as the Mongolians called him, the ambassador teacher.
It stayed here in 1 month. It made a lot of people believe that this is possible, to be Buddha, to reach this liberation. And I remember one person, a lady came up to my room in my office and said to me that my father, who was ill for many years and he couldn't stand up and he was lying in his bed for many years, he heard that Buddha is coming, and so he decided to come here. Now he is better. Now he can stand up from his bed. So Buddha relics also helped in this way people, ordinary people who were ill. So I can say that this kind of miracles also happened. So Bakula Rinpoche was also a part of this miracle.
Some contributions could be measured in terms of numbers. It's like an intangible support that he has brought in India-Mongolia relation. And that foundation has now flourished into a much stronger and thriving bilateral economic relationship.
So important is the legacy of Kushak Bakula in Mongolia and to the Indian embassy in Mongolia that Ambassador Singh has kept the room used by Kushak Bakula at the embassy untouched since the Rinpoche left. It is now used as a multi-faith prayer room.
I now have the privilege to bring you to the very room which was used by Kushak Bakula Rinpoche while he was here as ambassador teacher. And I have not used it as an office as a mark of respect to him, but tried to keep it as a prayer room. So this prayer room is a unique prayer room. Of course, it has our own scriptures of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. In addition, I have the Thankas and Dhammapada and Quran and Bible. Everything is in this room.
Bakula Rinpoche at that time and his spiritual guidance to many Mongols helped to overcome this difficult time for Mongolians.
Mongolia and Russia had seen the downfall of Buddhism at some point of time. It was Kushak Bakula Rinpoche, during his stay in those countries, had restored and developed Buddha Dhamma in those countries, bridging the friendship between the original land of Buddha, India, and Mongolia and Russia. That's how he played a very important role to connect and build friendship between India and those countries.
This is the Gandan Monastery. It is more than 130 years old. It is one of the few Buddhist monasteries that survived communist rule. Today it is at the heart of the spiritual and cultural life of Buddhist Mongolia. The head of the monastery
to peace, and we went together to the countryside of Mongolia for the relief of the people.
So intense was the cause of reviving Buddhism in Mongolia for Kushak Bakula Rinpoche that this monk and Indian ambassador used all his earnings in Mongolia to give back to the country something it deeply yearned for, a new Buddhist monastery. A branch of his beloved Pituk monastery was built at the center of Ulaanbaatar.
People would ask and seek his guidance about how to set up a monastery, how to enroll monks and ordain them. So he would explain, but that explanation was not sufficient. And so he decided, maybe one way is to set up a monastery in Ulaanbaatar where people can come and see and then experience. So he took it up with the government of Mongolia, and they happily said, please go ahead and choose any land you want and we give it to you. So he chose this particular spot. Petup, which means exemplary or a model. This is a name which coincide the doors of the temples were open and had come from Mongolia. So it was in an effort to reconstruct Buddhism in Mongolia. He did this
movement in my vision. Gradually, there was no problem with my vision. Now I work in telecom department as a technician and a devotee of my guru Bakula Rinpoche.
Wherever he went in Mongolia, Kushak Bakula brought a sense of spiritual resurrection, solace for countless souls. Crowds gathered to see him everywhere. Babies were brought to be blessed by him.
Bakula Rinpoche always supported Mongolian philosophy and spiritual beliefs of the people. During 90s, the territory of Mongolia was divided into 18 provinces. It was an emergency situation. People were very angry with the government leaders, and the socialists were protesting in the country. At that time, Rinpoche used to meet those protesters and always preached peace and non-violence. It was a very important point and lead to democracy in Mongolia. I became a nun at this monastery and practicing astrology for the last 10 years. Bakula Rinpoche was the first Buddhist teacher to Mongolian people. He taught Buddhist practices and rituals to young Mongolian monks. He built many monasteries and temples across the country. We deeply respect his teachings.
If men are known by the company they keep, monks must be known for their disciples. Two men might be considered the heirs to the legacy of Kushak Bakula in Mongolia. They are two of the country's most famous spiritual names. One is an artist and a monk, and the other a famous Vipassana meditation teacher. In the high hills of Aglak, around 100 kilometers from Ulaanbaatar, Lama Purvat has created the most important modern Buddhist shrine in Mongolia, as much a work of great art as it is a place of worship.
In our ancient book of wisdom it was written many years ago that someone from the south would come for the revival of Mongolian Buddhism. In the 1990s, Bakula Rinpoche came to Mongolia, and we held him in high regard. He played a key role in the revitalization of traditional Mongolian Buddhism, and his activities and accomplishments demonstrated his commitment to its thriving. We are grateful for his work.
With support and assistance from Kushak Bakula in India, the young Lama Purvat learned the delicate art of Thangka painting. Today he is one of Mongolia's greatest artistic treasures, his hilltop shrine dotted with white Buddhas under majestic trees, a reminder of his guru and the peace he brought to the once troubled land.
I am a professional artist and had a close relationship with Bakula Rinpoche, who sent me to India for further studies. This opportunity paved the way for my future career. Rinpoche established the Patab monastery, and upon his passing, I had the honor of handling his cremation and creating a silver stupa in his memory.
Like Lama Purvat, Shirindev Dolig was one of the discoveries of Kushak Bakula. A young student who Kushak Bakula helped travel to India more than 2 decades ago. He has become the most influential meditation teacher in Mongolia.
And then after 3 months, the answer came from ICCR so that I could go and study in India. I was supposed students from Mongolia to join Indian universities, and then one monk from Gandhan we were sent. And Bakula Rinpoche said, "You are the lucky one." And then studying in the Banaras University, I heard this story about Naiden Bakula, but I want to prove that somewhere in the Gangur there must be proof about Bakula 1916, about 16 Bar.
Who live and study at his popular Pritub monastery. This is where the tribute put together by hundreds of ordinary Mongolian people when the saintly monk died is preserved.
This is made of pure silver, weighing about 160-70 kilograms. Now, this was done after Rinpoche had passed away, and huge people from across Mongolia would come, pay respect at the monastery built by Bakula Rinpoche. This stupa was done by a very famous Mongolian artist, Buddhist monk called Lama Prubat. As you see, Rinpoche is sitting in the middle, and it has his relics. And to this side is a statue of Bakula Rinpoche himself, is done according to his body size, literally. And the clothes that Rinpoche used to wear have been put on the statues.
Today, 2 decades after Kushak Bakula's death, the Indian government is sending statues of Bakula to the
session. So I will request all of you to please be seated. Voice for social harmony. And we have very distinguished, eminent personalities who will be on stage as panelists. So I will request all of you to please come inside and take your seats.
Back in Ladakh, where the first of these statues has come up, the legacy of Kushak Bakula is being passed on to a whole new generation. Nazia Iqbal is a young Ladakhi journalist. She says Kushak Bakula's spirit lives in these mountains among each and every one of its rugged, loving people.
Growing up here in Ladakh, we always knew what an all-encompassing presence that the Kushak Bakula Rinpoche had on Ladakh. And when he was at his political prime, we were still very young. We really did not understand the enigma that he was at that point. But slowly, now that I know a little bit, now that I've read a little bit about him, I truly feel that not just that he was the biggest leader that Ladakh has seen, but he was one of the greatest leaders that India or the world has seen, really.
As long as the chants echo in the mountains, as long as the Buddha is worshipped, as long as the butter lamps are lit in the monasteries, in Ladakh, in Mongolia, across India and Central Asia, the love and legacy of Kushak Bakula shall live on.